Well, welcome back to the Pease Podcast, the show where we delve into the captivating world of Lytton's local legends. I'm your host, Joan Pease, proudly serving as your state member for Lytton. In this podcast, we celebrate the rich tapestry of our community by highlighting the extraordinary stories, individuals and businesses who make Lytton the truly special place that it is to call home. From historic figures to contemporary heroes, we'll explore the diverse talents and remarkable achievements of those that have shaped Lytton's identity. In each episode, we uncover untold tales and remarkable contributions of those who have made a positive impact on our Bayside. And none more so than today's guest, Damien Lugg. Damien is a fantastic gentleman who does so much for our community in conjunction with his partner, Kirsten, and they are Directors of Market2Market Communications, and many people would know Damien and Kirsten through the much-loved Community Leader newspaper. He is an experienced professional with a background highly decorated. So I'm going to be talking to Damien today about everything good news and how Damien got into publishing and why he started the Community Leader and why open an independent organisation, a newspaper, in the times where print media isn't as big as it once was. And I want you to enjoy hearing from Damien because he's a very interesting character, brings a lot to the Bayside. So sit back and relax and enjoy listening to and hearing about Damien and his experience. So Damien, welcome. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Joan, for having me and for such a good introduction. Much appreciated.
You and Kirsten do amazing things for the community. And I mean, many people would know you as the publisher and editor for the Community Leader.
Yeah.
But there's much more to you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so my background is in the printing industry, printing and graphic design, and I worked in that industry for I guess starting in 1996, which was an interesting sort of space. Print was a dominant player in media and the way people engaged and communicated and received information. It still is. And so from there I went and worked for a large printing company for about just under 9 years. And Kirsten and I started Market2Market back in 2000. So I was still working for a printing company at that stage, and Kirsten was copywriting and sub-editing and doing graphic design work. So the two of us sort of worked well together in that space. And we just continued to evolve what she was doing to a point where I was able to leave full-time employment. But at that time when I was working for the large printing group, I was managing national projects, some very large printing projects and letterbox distribution, and probably managing around 15 to 20 million a year in print. So they were big jobs, and retrovisions and IGAs and public float for the TAB back in the day. So that's going back some time. So all of those skill sets from the printing industry really helped us with the foundations that you need when you're doing print and logistics. And people look at publishing and think it's easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And as I say, it's like herding cats. You can do everything. You got to, find the stories, get the ads to help run the publication. So I was having that experience, and when I was working in the printing industry, I worked with a lot of independent publishers, and some I saw being successful and some not, and learnt from the successful ones and learnt from the ones that weren't, and that kind of gave us the framework in which, when the opportunity came up to get into community media, we decided to take it. It wasn't our first involvement with community media. We used to do a lot of work with shopping centres and RSL clubs, believe it or not, producing little tabloid newspapers back in the day. And then we kind of stopped doing that, and the business evolved into more the corporate stuff, really from about 2007, 2008 through to 2019. most of our work was high-level corporate. So, doing work with the Broncos. We did all their creative for probably 6 years. We did their team posters and membership booklets and campaign work. Weber Barbecues, we done a lot of national work with them, and Century Batteries, to name a couple in that well-known space of consumer brands. So that was fun, and then COVID came about. So the community leader was really one of those things that came out of COVID. It was a bit of a COVID baby, to be honest. Having that print background, I understood the importance of local area marketing, and newspapers, whether you like them or not, formed a big part of that. But our approach when the opportunity came up was to really pull away from those opinion pieces, which I wasn't always a fan of. So our objective was really to give people an opportunity to connect and have their own voice heard. So the name the community leader wasn't something that was a mistake. We understood what we were creating. It was really an opportunity for leaders in the community to get their message out without opinion pieces interfering with what they perceived as the truth. And we wanted businesses to stand up as well and to help position businesses as being champions in the community. So that's how the name came about.
It was an interesting time. I know that during COVID, when you kicked off, it was at a time where many of the local print papers had gone online only, or they were all paywalled. So people in the community became voiceless to a certain degree, and couldn't actually access local news. And the community leaders sort of filled a very big void in that space, I believe.
Yeah, and it was just opportunistic. I mean, as I said, COVID put a lot of marketing and activity. It just changed so much. And a lot of our clients were national clients, and clients with, as a result of that, they had supply chain issues, so they couldn't do their catalogues, and they couldn't get stock, and they couldn't get product from overseas. So, and then they couldn't move around and do filming in Queensland, where a lot of our clients would come up from other parts of Australia. So we were kind of locked at home, going, "What's our relevance? Where do we sit in the market?" And at that stage, News Limited went into hibernation, and we kind of thought, well, look, we've got nothing to lose. We're just sitting around at home doing nothing. So let's create a small publication that can help connect people. And it was really driven by that sense of community, because, like you said, it's you can look at stuff online, but there's so much white noise now. And I find that print is still a very powerful medium, and I think at that time digital had the opportunity to really leap forward a long way, and sort of say that it's the be-all and end-all, but I just never believed that. I think you've got to have the two mediums working together to get the most out of the message you're trying to deliver.
And I think that's proof's in the pudding, isn't it, really? I mean, the community leader has been extremely successful. Would you agree?
Oh, look, I think it has been, and I think it's because we respect the community, and we respect the advertisers that we have, and we appreciate everyone who contributes. If we can't fit you in, we'll tell you, and we'll always make it an effort to get you in and work with you. And we understand we work with some small business that have problems paying bills, and we work with them to make sure that we give them enough time to we don't just go after them. We look after them and try and add value where we can. And I think that's really important. But
it's a great source of news and local information, and also local traders. But how wonderful you supported and sponsored the Bayside Community Gala Awards. So that was pretty amazing last year, the Business Awards.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Bayside Community Fund itself. As you know, Joan, you and I sort of helped create that. And it's just such a privilege to take an idea and to have it executed, and then get the right people involved with that. And at the moment, we've got a fantastic committee, and that just continues to evolve. And I'm a big believer in giving back to community and the long-term benefits of the community fund would be, just be there for years and years to come. But then to be able to create events has been the fun part. It's all good to have a fund, but you've also got to give back to community and finding community events that aren't really being serviced. And you mentioned the community awards. It was a lot of fun, and we pulled that together pretty quickly. But I just felt at the time, we had the right committee members, we had the right publication to be able to push it out. Charles, who was involved in the digital aspect of it, just really nailed it and really ramped it up. And the two mediums, it's a great example of how two mediums can work well together. And Pups in the Park was another event which there was no dog event in Wynnum Manly. So it was something that Kirsten and I conceptualised, and we did speak to Maggie about it as well.
Yes, for those of you that might not know, Damien and Kirsten are also the parents of Maggie, the beautiful white golden retriever.
And she does have her own comic.
Yes, she does.
Kirsten writes that comic every month. And it's
I thought Maggie wrote it herself.
Oh, Maggie she checks it, makes sure that,
she signs off on the proof.
She does proof it, yeah. So.
And everyone in Wynnum would know Maggie if you ever go walking along the Esplanade, because Maggie stops and has to be patted by everyone.
She does have a fan base, and she gets photo bombed all the time, and people come up and say, is that Maggie from the book or Maggie from the paper? And anyone who says branding doesn't work, well, ask Maggie, because she gets hassled all the time.
But it's been very successful, the community leader. People can't wait for it to come out. I have it here in my office, and it's gone as soon as we put them out the front. So.
Yeah, it's great. And you know what? It was funny, when we first started it, it had been so long since we'd done any publishing, and we were sitting down at one of the restaurants at Manly, and there's copies there, and I said to Kirsten, they're reading the paper. And then someone else picked it up. So it was kind of exciting just to watch it come off. And
little baby.
Yeah, it just sort of grew. And but, it comes down to the community wanting it and giving us content that they want to see in there. And that's really what it's about. And, we were fortunate. The other opportunity came up in the Redlands as well. So
oh, great.
Yeah, so we...
how's it going down there?
Yeah, it's good. We're happy with it. It's sitting at the same page count as the Bayside edition. So the total run now is just over 56,000. So we're the only paper that does home delivery, which is great. I think is really important.
Oh, it's lovely, and people do look forward to getting it. They really do. I know that people enjoy looking in the paper and seeing what community events are on, and just catching up on local news, and having something that you can hold and feel and touch is, I think, really important to people. Yeah,
it is that tangibility, and particularly the oldies, they like it. It's just, as you said, you pick it up, and it was hard when we started. There was no events on when we started.
No, that's right.
So the paper was a bit skinny.
It was hard, I know. And all levels of government put a little page in with you.
And that's been great, and I think it's important. When people say, we've got no media, I think really all levels of government should be involved with it. It's something similar because it just helps create Australian media. It might sound silly, but the reality is these things are not cheap to make.
No.
And you see a lot of money being spent on with companies who aren't based in Australia. And I think as a country, those areas that don't have a form of publication are not better off for it. I think it's important to have, because we get a lot of people saying, I want to send a story that's a bit negative. I say, well, you just go online and do it, because we're not going to publish that kind of stuff. We don't want people. We see publishing as a privilege, and we don't want to be taking delivering negative stories to someone's home. It's not what we're about. And I think when we get the messaging from state, federal, and local, it just allows people to see what's happening and to understand who their local area reps are.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for everyone in government to be able to participate. And what better medium than in a paper, a newspaper? So I'm more than happy. I was thinking one of your...
You were, I meant to say that. So it was yourself and Peter, Peter Cumming, the former councillor, who really helped when we had the concept and just said, hey, are you interested? And then Ross came on the next issue. So it's just great to see all three levels, and we hope that continues.
And it's good
future.
because it's not a political statement at all. It's just information. It's about community leaders putting in articles.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And, we've always tried to make sure that we keep that sort of stuff out of it.
I agree. I think that's a great way to be. So tell me, the real estates and other advertising that you've got in the paper, they've been very supportive of you as well.
Yeah, you've got the likes of Mark Sorrentino, Margaret Vogt, Danny from Ocean Realty, you got Rod at McGrath's, you got Remax. There's always, and they've been great. They've just been anchor supporters, and they know they've been around. They know how to market. They know what marketing's about. They know it's not just digital. You've got to have that presence for all mediums, and other ones who are coming back to traditional print it's good to see. I mean, it's digital's my perspective. It's really easy to do, but sometimes it doesn't have that reinforcement of brand. Branding's about layering.
Well, that's right. And by having digital, there's an assumption that everyone's going to go online, and not everyone does go online.
No, I avoid going online as much as I can after 5 o'clock. I've had it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And Damien, there's more to Market2Market than the community leader. You do some advertising, film work as well?
Yeah, we do a lot of interesting corporate videos, animations of some really interesting stuff. So did a whole range of stuff with the Department of Agriculture. Before COVID, we tendered for state government supply panel, which is an exhausting process of just trying to get on the supply chain. It's very hard.
It's worth it.
Well, look, it has been. It's we've got a good reputation of doing work, good quality work. We set up a system where we've got videographers and photographers around the state. So, if you're a minister in Townsville and you need someone to do something, we can do it straight away. We've got
people
staff
there
on the ground. And that model's really been helpful. And, the print and design side of things, that's very strong as well. So my background was in major print marketing. So, some of the names, I won't say too many, but, it's been interesting over the years to work on some really big projects and don't do it as much now, but...
You don't have time by the sound of it.
No, we've been pretty busy. This year we want to get back into more of the video and TV. I mean, some of the TV campaigns we did were big national ones. I mean, I mentioned Weber Barbecues and Century Batteries, and both were very successful campaigns. So we kind of sit between a production house and an agency, if you had to position what we did. I didn't want to get too big to become an advertising agency. It just the cost and continual obligations are huge.
I can imagine.
So we kind of got our nice little spot, and Kirsten's fabulous at what she does. She is just so efficient and so good at how she processes things, and the two of us probably do the job of about 6 people.
I was going to say that all of this goes on here in Manly. You're producing all of this content and all of this work and managing all of that as a small business operator, but touching, you said that you've got a print run for the paper of 56,000, but also then you've got all the corporate work. You and all of the advertising and videos, you're touching hundreds of thousands of people on a regular basis.
Yeah, every.
They're looking at your work. And this is all happening downtown Manly. Yeah,
one of the cool projects we did was, as I said, we used to do Broncos team posters, and they turned it into a Monopoly board.
Oh,
so a full game.
Wow!
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. The other big one that we did was for the Brisbane Roar. We shot it at South Bank, and then we came out of the airport one day because at that stage the Airport Corporation was sponsoring the Roar, and you got this massive billboard.
With your
coming
work
to
on
Brisbane,
it.
with our work on it. And at that stage, we had Broncos work, we had Raw work, and we're doing stuff with Surf Lifesaving. So we're seeing all our stuff scattered through Brisbane. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I can only imagine how cool that would be to think that this is something that you've created, and the eyes of the world, or at least Australia or Queensland, are all seeing your work, what you've generated. So were you creative at school?
I was more of a rat bag at school. I just had a good time. That was about it. I my grades weren't that good. I was always good at organising things and people, and Kirsten was the one who was, she was getting good marks.
And where did you meet Kirsten?
It's funny, we both hung around the same people but went to different schools. So we grew up Alexandra Hills and Capalaba. So I met Kirsten on her 18th birthday, and we've been together ever since. So what's that? Geez, that's...
Don't give away ages
I know,
now.
Yeah,
a long time.
It's been a couple of weeks.
A couple of decades, perhaps.
Yeah, so, no, she's good. She's one of the most impressive people I've ever met. So. And
that's interesting, the two of you working together all the time. You know, you are very well known and well liked in the community. Whenever you go out, you know lots and lots of people. So I see people begging, waiting, hanging around, wanting to talk to you, or maybe they're wanting to talk to Maggie. I'm not sure.
Probably Maggie more so than me. Maggie's far more interesting. Yeah, but look, I think we've always been pretty humble people. There's no airs and graces. If you're a nice person, we'll talk to you, and I guess the same if we try to be nice to people and treat them with respect, then it goes both ways, and that's really important, I think. And yeah, and I think in that corporate world, you learn to deal with CEOs, and you learn to deal. And I started my job as a warehouse guy and moved into purchasing and all that kind of stuff. So I started right at the bottom and worked my way through different levels. And you just do what you do. And Kirsten's got the brain. She's got the commerce degree. She's the one who's pretty switched on. Yeah,
you work well together.
And we do. Yeah, we really we have our little parts that we have to do. And we always check in to make sure that we're doing the right thing by each other and respecting the process of what we go about doing, particularly with the paper, because Kirst writes, she writes the paper. She basically does the subbing, and her approach is that she wants to keep the person's voice. So we might tidy up the words to make it a little bit more fluid, but she never wants that voice to be lost and their intent to be lost. It's not her place to put her opinion on it or cut it short or just do something that's not toward.
So what are your plans for 2024?
Look, I think we just want to really, because 23 was a big year. I mean, we really got behind some of those events we mentioned with the community fund, and also starting the Redlands paper. They were just big undertakings. In fact, a lot of our work our focus shifted towards getting the Redlands established. So this year, getting back into that corporate work. Oh,
you said that. And so the Redlands paper's taken off. It's doing well.
Yeah, look, I'm happy with where it sits. We've chosen a monthly proposition for both because I think after a while, if you're doing them weekly, in some areas it just becomes a bit stale because the content doesn't change that much. And people look forward to seeing a monthly paper more so than a weekly. After a while, it just becomes a little bit of white noise again, particularly if it's just too much same. So we like to mix it up. And the big thing for us is having just original good content. I think it's embarrassing to put out. So
I've noticed that in the community leader over here, the content from myself and Ross and Sarah is sort of like a story about what's been happening during the month, and that keeps people up to date with what the members are doing. I think and that's important, and also about things that are coming up into the future.
Yeah, and that was the goal of it. I mean, we kind of see it as an important touch point for updates. And it gives you guys the chance to say your piece without clutter and without, one thing I don't like seeing is editors who have an opinion and they just have a crack, and I would never do that.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a great contribution to our community, and I really do thank you and Kirsten for doing it and undertaking it, because it's not an easy task to start something up from scratch. Like it's a big undertaking. So well done, congratulations. And it's very well received, as I've said. People can't wait for the next edition to come out, and they're always waiting and checking in when it's going to be coming. So that's great. Yeah. I think that it gives people in our community another connection that we used to have. I mean, we had a local paper, and people would look forward to getting that. And you've filled that void.
Yeah, and just on that point, it was really interesting. When we first started, and it was, I guess, what made us believe in what we were doing and to continue to drive what we were doing, and that positive approach. And we've actually put in our masthead, we're all about good news, was the little stories that we would hear from people saying, oh, I saw that article and I went and joined that club. And I thought, we motivated you to get out, meet new people, make new friends. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And to hear that, and we heard that time and time again, was really...
And that's outstanding. That's a feel-good feeling,
It was, and that's what really drove us to continue it. So, that was our community award, really, just in those sorts of comments from people. So, and that's why we put the title. We're all about good news, and we could fill it with negative stuff. It's easy to get.
Oh yeah.
It's just not what we want. We could get a TV guide if we wanted to, but we're not interested in doing that either. So
yeah, well, that's interesting. TV, everything's live streaming these days. There's a lot of live streaming. So
yeah.
Well, Damien, thank you very much for coming in today.
No worries, Joan. Thank
You're
you for having me.
You're a very talented man, you and Kirsten.
I come here all the
time. It has been a very big success. Not only I know we've talked a lot about the community leader, but also the great work that you do with Market2Market, as well as supporting and donating much time to our community through advertising in the community leader or sponsoring events. It's pretty impressive what you do, and I want to thank you for that, because it means so much to the community, and it's a lovely area down here. People come to the Bayside. They don't drive through it. When they get here, it's the end of the line, but it's a beautiful place to be, and we really do look out for each other, and the community leader does exactly that. So, and it's all down to you and Kirsten, so thank you very much.
No, thank you, and thanks for having us.
Oh, it's great that you could come in. Yeah. So thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through one of Lytton's local legends, Damien Lugg. I hope that you've enjoyed this insightful conversation where we've gained a deeper understanding of Damien and Kirsten and the community leader, and your passion and Kirsten's passion for the community. So thank you very much. And also about good news.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you. If you've loved this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the Pease Podcast so you never miss an opportunity to discover more captivating stories of the extraordinary individuals who have made Lytton the very vibrant place that it is today. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes, so please feel free to reach out to us on social media or through my website. Remember that it's through your engagement that keeps this podcast alive and thriving. So join us again next time as we contribute our mission of celebrating the wonderful heroes and trailblazers and hear the fascinating stories that make Lytton the truly special place it is to call home. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep celebrating the legends in our Bayside. This is Joan Pease, your host, signing off.